Hi, this is Phyllis with Second Wind. It's 2022, and I haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought I would just go ahead and walk you through what's gone on since my last. I've been busy working on my website, and I want to walk you through a little bit of that just to highlight an oversight of my nonprofit, Second Wind. We try to capture things that matter now, but we look at the past, the present, and also try to project to the future. So I'm scrolling through the screen. If you have questions, be sure to enter your name, send me an email, type in the questions, and we'll be getting back to you as soon as possible with answers to your questions. I have my 80 plus books, my 60 podcasts, my 60 plus YouTube videos highlighted and embedded, but they're also available directly on YouTube, Amazon, and Lulu. But again, my nonprofit, we had a Giving Tuesday event to encourage donors, and I want to thank all my donors and sponsors. And we have that going on now. We accept PayPal. We also accept any travel miles, hotel, air miles, and you can contact me for details. And I have the amount shown here, but we also have a number of events that I'm highlighting to focus on things just besides the books, because we had huge Kwanzaa activities going on, and every night, jazz and blues leading up from the 26th through the New Year's. Also, Sister Cities International. We're having an event today, a meeting at one of the local Greek Middle East restaurants with kebabs, all kinds of lamb and chicken delights. So I sent my regrets. I'm staying COVID safe and sound. But again, I thought I'd just check in and give you a quick overview of some of the highlights of what we did have going on, including the Kwanzaa, beautiful Kwanzaa celebration. We had one at the library celebrating all the major days of Kwanzaa. This was on the 28th. We looked at the major feast. We had a feast. We had an overview of what goes into the feast, doing some of my sketch art, and then there was a huge dance celebration with the Lulu Washington dance group. That was one of the highlights of the month of December. There was also a Rita Walters Library dedication. It's open now and honors the great works of Rita Walters and highlights literacy, which is one of the major focus of what we do with Second Wind. There's also a Lightscape that was on during the holidays. It just closed Sunday night, 2 days ago on the 7th, and it was quite impressive. It talks about the environment, the ecosystem, the major plants from around the world that are saved and cared for there, but also a little bit of Hollywood history as well as train facts and what some do with their wealth. We have the Woke series coming up in the next week or so, and you can just check my website out for updates. You go to phyllis'ssecondwind.com. We have a summary of the events as well. Again, we had a tour of the City of Hope. This is a picture of the major koi pond, and there were quite a few developments because on this particular site, you get to see there was a major hospital opening in Orange County treating cancer. This is the logo and the major wrought iron gate welcoming visitors as they step into the property. Cancer hits everyone. If you don't know someone with cancer, I'm sure family members, friends, neighbors are all hit by cancer. And this started out about 100 years ago as a tuberculosis center that transferred and transitioned to cancer. So there's various important sites, historical locations, but a tribute to the industries known and related to cancer causing activities that were major in making contributions to develop it. So here's one of the quotes: nature has a unique way of healing us from the inside out. So there's beautiful gardens. It is restricted due to COVID, but it's something to remember the connection with our earth, with spring colors, as well as making sure we take care of the basics. That's food, shelter, and clothing. This is an interesting picture of the president's wife, Mrs. Roosevelt, and her friend, Mary McLeod Bethune. So I highlighted that in my newsletter. Again, this is short and sweet. You can follow the updates now on my website, but you can also check out the Proud Bird. We're getting ready for Super Bowl here in Los Angeles at the Inglewood SoFi Stadium. That'll be a big event, as well as the upcoming do it yourself tours of the UCLA Sustainability Campus, also the Frontier Project in Rancho Cucamonga. We have some images just to remind you that I'm a Bruin, but we welcome and encourage all. Those are my partners, those are my sponsors, and I want to keep that going. Frontier Project connected with the U.S. Green Builders as well as the Long Beach Aquarium because we have many countries that are focusing on ecotourism. We have many divers as well as all families, all ages that can get something from a visit to the Long Beach Aquarium. So I highly encourage you, check it out, keep in touch. I want to make this short and sweet. And another final summary is that you can also do a do-it-yourself tour of Caltech campus. So you might ask, why would I even highlight that? Well, my books, in particular, Shorts, a STEAM anthology, focuses on science and technology and the place of women. Albert Einstein, many of you may or may not know, was a escapee from the Nazi persecution in the 1930s. He taught briefly at Caltech. He's known for his significant scientific theories in mathematics, including relativity. But I make a highlight to note that he showed compassion to support and advocate for African Americans, in particular World War II veterans who were severely impacted prior to, during, and after World War II, in particular here in the United States. And I want to make a note of that because oftentimes, as a immigrant, as someone who comes to this country, it's important to be aware of what's going on. And Albert Einstein and his colleagues. This is a picture of Albert with his wife Elsa, Robert and Greta Millikan, who has a building named after him. Einstein took the time to speak out and advocate for equity and fairness to all in this country as a refugee. There is the Athenaeum Club that's private. They even have a bedroom, they say, named after Albert Einstein. So, for you history buffs, if you really want to check this out, go to the Athenaeum or call and ask about the Albert Einstein Room. I have friends that are affiliated with Caltech, and I supported their Medicare for All, supporting nurses and the healthcare industry. But some of Einstein's efforts, including resisting and fighting the wave of violence against Black people that swept the U.S., particularly after World War II, as well as housing discrimination. The Scottsboro Boys, who were falsely accused of rape, and in terms of Princeton, refusing a room to Marian Anderson, a major international opera singer, Einstein invited her to his home as a guest. So I want to just highlight that we keep on focusing on community, on education. I found The Pacific as one of the movies highlighted in based on a true story. And that was one of my first questions. Well, where were the Black veterans? So this gentleman, Ronald David Jackson, I want to give credit. He answered the question. The warriors that HBO forgot in the Pacific. This was I believe, 10-part series with Spielberg and Tom Hanks name to the credits, who somehow left out the dedication, the hard work of the Black veterans in World War II. So that's part of my educational efforts. Look out for more in my Woke series. Please feel free to browse the website. Give me your comments and your commentary. And again, I want to also focus on the gallery because some people might say, well, what is this all about? What is this Second Wind all about? So I've summarized a lot of my activities on the website. You can look at the YouTube, but check out some of the pictures. We have some art, we have nature. Of course, we have some fine food and some snacks. But we also have a highlight and overview of the giving that helps keep nonprofits going. And again, another interesting find was the checklist for you to consider if you are calling yourself aware and awoke and supportive. Ask yourself some of these questions. Am I giving my money to organizations that reflect my morals? After the uprisings in 2020, how am I using my giving to ensure that racial and equity doesn't lose momentum? There's 9 on the checklist. Go to the gallery, look for more. I have an ad in the USAID and State Department Journal to highlight my work as a Foreign Service Officer, Capital Development Loan Officer, working in procurement as well as financing in the Middle East and East African region. These are some pictures from then when I was actually out in the field versus now mostly homebound and staying safe due to this COVID Omicron, which I understand is predicted to last 8 years. These are a few of my other pictures showing my work in the classroom with the students. This was Operation Hope, Financial Young Women's African American Conference, Los Angeles Music Center, LA Times Festival of Books, on and on. Pictures of me at work in the classroom and writing in these booths out and about. So just enjoy it. Feel free to take your time and browse, but it will answer some of the questions. Well, what is this second wind about? What has Phyllis been doing? This is a picture of one of the art crafts that I created for the Festival of Mask, and it represents the resources drained and being used in Africa that perhaps ownership and control could be improved. This is a picture of me with my mask. These are my gold cuffs. I believe there's quite a few pictures, but again, I encourage you, if you want to find out more, take your time. Make several visits to the website. Now, you don't have to wait for the YouTube. Now you see what my time's gone. But we worked on construction projects at major universities in the Middle East. I've also worked in aerospace, defense, and commercial sectors, satellite technology, water, recycled water, etc. So I'm quickly browsing through some of the pictures you may or may not have looked at. But again, this picture of the young woman being harassed, trying to get her education, if you click on that, you'll see it reflects a current project because not only are my partners active and involved, I'm directly involved in giving and supporting. This is a project in Mozambique, but it's worldwide because there is a need to support young women. This is a project in Mozambique and Kenya to help women who need their hygiene products that often cause them to lose time in school and affect their education and social life. Again, this is a picture, one of my drawings, of being a mom. The ad from Shorts, my latest book on the U.S. Foreign Service Journal. This is a quick summary of the highlights on this. PATH is another organization I support. I just watched a program saying, here's a checklist of things you can do. And again, donate as well as don't give your time. So PATH has had several fundraisers to fight and support homelessness. And I've done my part actually physically being present, but also donating, as well as the Frontier Project. On and on. We have several pictures here that I'll flip through, but again, if you missed it before, take your time or make several trips because it reflects some of my interests. These are pictures at the LA Times Festival of Books. I hear the term about privilege, and I'm really, as I mentioned to a friend, I don't know what that means because my parents, my grandfather raised 13 children on $1 a day. When my parents passed, they were living on my father's pension that was still at poverty level after working over 30 years. So we'll cut that off. But if you think a little bit before speaking, that term privilege may or may not necessarily apply to what people see. I wrote an article on what you see is not what you get, and that might be posted on the website because sometimes people take things for granted, but they really don't see the facts. We see a sister here with her hands on her hips, etc. So egg sucking dog is available. That's one of my latest. This is a list of the sustainable buildings and the sustainable campus that I support at UCLA, as well other locations. So again, this is a quick picture from one of the great guys at the library who called us, reminded us, sent emails that we're having the Kwanzaa celebration. Be sure to log on. So I want to give him credit where credit's due. One of the city librarians who worked overtime to make sure that we celebrated Kwanzaa. It is a global celebration, so not just for African American people. And that's why I show this panel, showing all kinds of people that the environment, sustainability in our lives are central to everyone, not just African Americans, not just one type of person. And I want to highlight this lady who won a reward and a prize at the London Book Fair for her years of writing. So I'll wrap things up for now. I think I've chatted long enough, but I wanted to just check in, make another quick video so that you'll have an excerpt and a summary of what I've been involved in. So, again, thank you so much. Happy New Year. And I'll check in with you a little bit later. Again, feel free to check out my website for more information. Thank you and happy 2022.